Okay, so in this video we'll be creating this little render here. Let me put on loop. There we go. So let's loop in. There's nothing too fancy. This is based off a tutorial by Zero Bio. He's got a great tutorial on modeling. I'm gonna do some slight differences, just using modifiers and stuff like that. But it's pretty much the same. So I do recommend checking out his videos. You can learn a lot. He has some great techniques. So let's get started. Let's jump in. So what you do need is a texture or reference image. So in this case, I'm going to do search on Google for an SD card. So just go to Google SD card and you can just save one of these images onto your desktop, which I've already prepared and done. So that's on my desktop. So the first thing I want to do is just go to edit, preferences, and make sure that I have import images to planes, image as planes. So we can bring in our texture as a plane, make it much more easier for us. I'm going to just clear everything. So just like blank scene, nothing in it. So now we're going to go file, import, image as planes. Then you're going to browse to the location where you save that texture. So I saved it in this 3D stuff folder. And here you can see I have the SD card. I'm going to just say imports. Okay. And then we're going to change the shading so we can see our texture. And maybe I'll scale it up a tiny bit. There we go. Nice and big. So what we're going to do is look at it from above on the Z. So we're looking straight on. And we're going to add a mesh plane. Now we're going to click up here on the top left and go into edit mode. And I'm going to select the edge and delete this bottom edge. Boom. Bye-bye edge. And now you can see there's a thin line. It might be hard because it's grey on grey. But if I select the vertices, you can see the points here. So what I want to do is move these vertices to match the shape of this SD card. So we want to kind of draw this shape of the SD card. So let's do that. So we're going to move these vertices. So I'm going to align these over here and bring these in as well. Now I'm going to move this, and what I'll do, I'll start off this side here and then we'll make our way around. Okay. So what we want to do is extrude. So if I hit E on my keyboard, I'll just right click and then move that position. And I'll just repeat that. So it'll be E, drag down, E, and move that vertex E. So we're just doing the general shape. Don't worry about the bevels. We'll add that in. So we're just going to do E and E. You're going to hear me saying E a lot. E. There you go. E again. Whoops. Just hit that little Z button there. There we go. E. There we go. Now this side, I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to move this up to the top, like so. And then I'll extrude this side. So E, drag this in. E, drag that down. E again, drag that out. And then we're going to do is meet these 2 points. So we're going to go E and drag this all the way down to the bottom. And we'll merge these 2 vertices. So I'm going to select these 2, right click, merge vertices at center. Boom. Now it's not perfect, so what I'll want to do is just select all these vertices on the right here. I'm going to select the scale tool, and what I'll do, you can see they're not aligned. So if I hit drag the x-axis on the scale and then hit 0 on my numpad, they will align, they will snap on the 0, so they're nice and straight. And I'll just go through and just make sure these are all aligned. So I'll do the bottom as well, because I'm just rushing it, and this one will be on the Y, and then these 2 will be on the Y as well. There we go. And then again on the left here, on the X and 0. And I'll repeat this again, 0. And of course you could do it on these little edges here too, just in case if they were a little bit wonky. Here on the Y and here, oops, and here, and this one. There we go. So once you're happy with that, you can see there's an outline. So if we select this plane, and let's just shift it up a little bit so you can see we've kind of got the profile of the SD card, but now we need to add these corners. It's pretty straightforward. So we'll start with this top right hand corner here. We'll go into edit mode again. We'll select this bevel, we'll select this vertex here, and we're going to do right click, bevel vertex, and drag this. Make sure you're looking at it from above, makes it easier. In the bevel options here, you can change that width right here. There we go. Now I'm going to select these corners here, these 3 corners. These are pretty much the same, so I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to right click so we can see what we're doing. Bevel vertices. There we go. And what we're going to do is increase the segments. So we get a nice smooth, segment, and then you can change the width of that. There we go. That's looking nice. So now we've got these nice bevels on these corners. We want to add a bevel here, here, and here, and on here. So we can do all of these ones together. So right click, bevel vertices. Now these are a lot smaller, so we don't need as many segments. So we can reduce the segments. Let's do 3. We'll just tweak that. There we go. Now the top right does have a bevel as well. You can see here, and we don't want these sharp edges, so I'm going to select these 2 edges here, right click, bevel edge, and just round those off. There we go. As you can see now, we've got the shape pretty much sorted out. So what we want to do is fill this in. So we're going to go into edit mode up here, and I'm going to press A to select all. And what you want to do is fill the face. So I'm going to hit F to fill the face, and then I'll leave edit mode. So go back to object mode. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. Now you can choose to do it in the modeling by editing mode, and then say extrude that face out. In this case, I'm going to use modifier. So I'm just going to hit add a modifier, generate, solidify. And I can change the thickness here. And then what I'm going to do is add a second modifier, which will be the bevel. And this allows me now to, smoothen out these edges here. So add the segments. Get nice and smooth. There we go. Now if I shade smooth, there we go. Looks nice. We've got a nice beveled edge. And once you're happy with that, what you want to do is apply the modifiers. So I'm going to apply the solidify. So if you're happy with that thickness right there, which looks about right, you're going to say apply modifier, and then apply the bevel as well. Okay, let's go. So let's move this down. Okay, all I'm going to do is just turn on this, make this image here, this texture slightly transparent. So I'm just going to bring the alpha down. So if I go to the shading mode here, where is it? Shading. Right now, by default, when you bring it in, it connects the alpha. So I'm just going to disconnect that. And then what it will allow me to do is bring the alpha down on that texture there. So we can see it's visible. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So now I can see the model still there. Okay. And there's our model here. Now, if I look at it from above, so we need to create the inside of this, and this part here, this little bevel here, and then we have a little piece that just sticks out too. that we also need to do. So let's add a mesh. We're going to add a plane, and what we're going to do is match this bevel, this inner square, should I say. So I'm going to scale this down. Sorry if I stutter sometimes. There we go. I'm learning too. The reason I do these videos is it helps me learn at the same time, so it kind of reinforces my learning, and I can always go back and watch myself and say, that's how you do it when I forget something. Kind of like to use these videos. I do with other softwares too. I'm going to select these 4 corners, okay, or you could have hit just A and select all. And then we're going to do right click, bevel vertices. Now we've got the vertices here. Now it's not perfect, but don't worry, it doesn't have to be exact. That's fine. I've just added a few more segments. I've done 5 just to make it nicer. Maybe I'll change the width. Yeah, that looks okay. Let me take a look from the top. Maybe I'll just move these in a little. No, actually, that's fine. They are fine. Yeah, that matches. Okay. So, same way, what we're going to do is just move this up, this plane up. Now, I'm going to just use a modifier, add, solidify, and scale this up. There we go. And move shade. And what I'm going to do is apply that modifier. And this is what we're going to bevel the. I'm going to use this as a boolean so to get that in. So let's just turn this image off so we can see what we're doing. So make sure they intersect. So you do want them to intersect. Now how deep you want this to go, it's up to you. Not too deep. Assume you don't want it too deep. This is where the sticker will go. And what we're going to do is select our main SD card, our plane. So you can rename these, SD card. And then this will delete anyway after we bevel it. So we're going to apply a modifier, generate boolean difference, and then the object will be this, as you can see. And then if I hit the now you can change that depth. Like I said, you can change that. There we go. But what we're going to do is say apply. How far do we want to go? Let's say, I'm being very picky, sorry. Let's say there. Okay, and just apply that boolean. Then we can delete this face here, and you can see now we've got this nice cut inside. Now you may notice some of the faces are a bit sharp, and you can see these hard edges. So what I'm gonna do, if I shade it smooth flat, and let me turn the X-ray off. There you go. You can see here some faces are jagged and some are not. So what we want to do is right click. If I say shade auto smooth, that might fix it. The back it doesn't fix. So what we're going to do is just go to edit mode, select this back face, right click, and shade this flat. I'll sort that normal out. And just in case we have issues on this flat surface here, I'll do the same. So this is a flat surface here that I want to select, and the inside of this. And what I'm going to do is just do shade flat. There we go. That solves the weird issues we have with the normals. There we go. And then we've got a nice soft edge here. So let's bevel the inside of this so it's not as sharp. So we're going to select the edge, the inner edge loop, and then I'm going to press Alt, hold the Alt key and select the whole loop. Now, if you do have pieces that come across like this, so you might have to deselect these. But make sure you select that. There you go. Right click and say bevel edge. There we go. And don't forget, you need to play around with your segments. So maybe you want fewer or more, entirely up to you. I want quite a small bevel. There we go. It looks okay. So now let's add the little segment that sticks out the side. Nothing too fancy. So I'm just gonna add a mesh. It'll be a plane. Scale this down. Shift it over here. Boop, boop, boop. Scale this in. So just push this in a little. Now, how big you want to make this? You can copy the image, so you can turn the image back on, and you can just reference that image. So it's quite small actually. I thought it was bigger. There we go. It's about this size here. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'll turn that image off anyway. And what I'm gonna do is I want to pull out a segment of that. So I'm gonna go edit mode, and I want to slice this. Okay, so I want to add some slices. I'll put a slice somewhere here and here, and then extrude this edge out. So I'm just gonna hit E and drag along the X here. There we go. Now what I want to do is add a bevel and a solidify on this. So solidify, boom, and followed by a bevel, and of course increase the segments and change that. There we go. And apply that. Maybe you're going to change that thickness a bit more on there, so a little bit more. I'm going to say apply, right click, shade smooth, put this in, look at it from above, boom, just drag that in there. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is shift select this, followed by the card, and then just go to parent object. So now if I move this piece now follows. However, they're still separate, but it's just parented now to the card. Just makes it easier when if you're animating this or moving it around as a group, or you can merge them later on. It doesn't matter. So now we're on to the texturing. So let's start adding the textures to this. So what I'm going to do is actually get rid of this reference image for now. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to do is go to here, the little material ball. We're going to add a new material. And let's make this black. And you can choose how shiny you want this with the roughness. You know, if you want it really glossy, of course you can go really glossy. Normally they're not that glossy, but you know, you might want to exaggerate the material depending on what you want to do. Something like this, fine. I'm going to click on the shading tab so we can just focus on this material. And what I'm going to do is just add a bump. So I'm going to go to normal. I'm going to add a bump. Boom. And from the height, I'm just going to add some noise. There we go. So we've got this crazy noise now. Looks like it's all melted and stuff. Don't worry. We changed the scale. So we're going to scale this down. And we're going to add more detail. And then play around with the roughness. So we get this nice kind of bumpy thing. Don't worry about the mapping. We'll fix the UV mapping in a second. And we'll just bring the strength down. So it's more subtle. But there's cheap plastic. It's like we're looking for this kind of cheap plastic effect. It's got the little bumps, you know, the imperfections. There you go. Well, it kind of looks alright. I know we did notice the UV mapping's a bit funny. So if we go back to layout or UV editing, and with the plate selected, hit A. I'm just going to go UV. And then just let's do smart project, boom. If we go back into our shading or layout, that should look a lot better now. There we go. You can't see it stretching on the noise. There we go. So it looks a lot better. There we go. So we have our plastic, and again, play around with the roughness and all of that. Now we want a separate material for the inside. So this one, I'll just rename the material 1. So I'll just call this plastic 1. Plastic. My spelling's not the best. 1. There we go. And I'll add a second material. And this will be the label. So I'll rename this label. Label. And what we're going to do is assign it to the face. So we go to edit mode. And we select face. And then we want this face here. Okay, and we want to apply that label from the texture that we've got. So select the label material, assign this. Now if we go into or is it shading, we want to apply a base color, which would be a image texture, right? So the color image texture, we're going to open, and you got to browse to that texture. So it's in here, my 3D stuff. Here's the texture, and it's wrong, right? So we have to fix the UVs for that. So let's do that first. So let's click on UVs, and if we go here and we go okay, from above, and let's turn on the, if you use the middle mouse button, you can move this across, and let's just make sure we can see what we're looking at here in the model. So this face here that we have selected, we're going to move these UVs, and we're just going to scale this and match this. And you can see it's upside down. So our UV is upside down. So I'm just going to rotate this around. And just scale these. So I'll just move these vertices to the same edge. There we go. This up. It's not perfect, but you know, it'll do. Just move this in. I'll move this down a bit. And these two down in to there. And these vertices in, and I'll just move these in to shift it. It's a little bit wonky, but yeah, you can see here, looks okay. Maybe slightly bigger. So let's go back in and this, or should I say slightly smaller. There we go. There we go. It's not perfect. You can see the sticker's not perfect, but it works. Okay, next, what we want to do, because you do have that sticker's not aligned, and ours is not aligned. However, maybe the top. I'm being so extra. Sorry. Bring this up like so. I am being very picky. There we go. Put this in. Now, if I did match the bevel better, then it would apply. But that kind of looks like it's, yeah, a bit off center. Maybe the bottom, the last one. Sorry, one more time. Just move these down. Yeah, that's looking nice. There we go. Okay, so we've got our texture done. Now, the sticker itself, we want some parts of it to be reflective and some not. So what I did is taken the image into Photoshop. So if I go to my desktop here on the 3D stuff, here I've done a black and white version. So the black areas where I want it to be really glossy, and then these grayer areas and white areas are just a bit more dull and less reflective. Now you can change, you can play around with the scale, the grayscale of this and the materials yourself, but I've just done that for now. So we're going to go into shading. I'll just copy this image texture and paste it in here. I'm going to load in the same texture, so this texture here. Now you can do this in Photoshop, it's not hard, or in GIMP as well, your alternative, or whatever other software you have out there. And what we want to do is feed this into our roughness like this. Maybe I want a color ramp. between. So I'll use the color ramp and then go to the roughness. Okay. And right now we don't see anything because right now this is just a copy. Is this a copy or is this the black? No, this is the black and white. That's fine. So if I drag this, we should see. I think. Let's go into the layout. See if we can see anything. Why can't I see a reflection, eh? Let's change this environment. There we go. You can see here the text. It's very hard to see. There you go. Now you can see it. It's just the lighting's not that with the angle that we're looking at and the lighting. But what we're gonna do is go to shading. You can also change it in here. Change this in here, and you can also rotate this. There we go. So now we can play around with this. You know, as you can see, I can maybe change this to like B-spline. So I can have some gloss, but then this is more glossy. So the Extreme Pro is a lot more glossy than the rest of it. Or I can bring this down a tiny bit. Just finding the look that you want. I kind of like that. And then maybe I'll make it slightly metallic. Just make it slightly. There we go. I kind of like the look of that. There we go. Now it's up to you how to play around with that. Okay. So let's add the second material. We need a material for this, of course. So let's just add the material, new, and let's just make it gray, and just bring that roughness down. So it's a bit of plastic. There we go. So now we've got a bit of plastic sticking out the side. Clip. There we go. So if we stand this up, we have an SD card made. Pretty good, right? It's not bad, you know. Maybe the noise, I have a bit too much noise, so I'm just going to go back in. It does look like I have a lot of noise, so I'm just going to go to the bump on this. So select that plastic, and maybe I'll bring down that ramp. Yeah, that's a bit better. I like that. I'm just being picky now, sorry. Anyway, next, then just join these two together. Join. Now I'm going to select object, set origin to surface of mass. And that's one. And I'll rename this SD card. Now we just have one object made and it's all textured. Now I didn't do the back, so I didn't add the gold pins. So we can add gold pins if you want to that. So let's just straighten this up. Let me go here, just straighten this up to 90. Boom. I mean, we can add some gold pins here where, you know, the contact that we make. So I'm going to just do mesh and I'll rotate this. So minus 90. Boom, move this up. This is on the rear. Oh, we can connect this in a second. Now I believe the little, you see those little gold strips. I'm just going to stick a plane, use a plane, and scale this down. I'm not really referencing the image. I'm just kind of going off what my brain thinks it should be. I might be completely wrong, but yeah. So what I'm going to do is go into edit mode on this plane here. And with this face selected, I'm going to just do Shift D and just drag. So now it's still, we've got multiple planes, but it's all as one mesh. I'm going to Shift D again. Do one more over here. That looks alright. And well, just select the bottom edge of each one and then just kind of like that. Sometimes they're not like, there we go, just something like that. They're not perfect, but you know. As you can see, it's one piece when I come out of edit mode. I'm hitting tab to switch between edit mode and object mode, or you can go up in the top left. Click on the little piece here, add a new material, give it like a golden color. It doesn't look really gold right now, so we need to, of course, make it metallic. Bring that roughness down. Boom. And it's up to you how much metallic you want it and how rough you want that material to be. Kind of think that's okay. All I'm gonna do is select this and the face. Again, join these. There we go. So now if I rotate this, there we go. Cool. So let's kind of just light this up. Like the model up that we've created. So we've got this SD card. I'm gonna just Control C, Control V. We've got another one. Control C, Control V. Boom. Let's add a floor. So we're gonna add a plane, and we're gonna scale this up like so. Now you can choose how you want to do your backdrop. I'm gonna just quickly do a simple backdrop. So select this back edge here. E to extrude and drag this up. We're going to select this edge here and we're going to right click and say bevel edge. And we're going to smoothen this out, so maybe 6. And I'm going to right click shade smooth. I'm going to scale this up a lot bigger and position these. Maybe you can make these a bit bigger too. There we go. So almost got like a product launch, you know, for the SD card. So you could, if you wanted to dress this set and do all sorts, you can. But let's start lighting this up. Right now we've got the studio light. Right now we're also using Eevee, so you know I'm gonna just put this to a bit too extreme to 12. Screen space reflection. Turn this material. Add a material for this backdrop, so I can change the color. And it's starting to look pretty good. Now you can do this in Eevee if you want. For this, I'm going to use Cycles. That's the only reason I'm using it is because of the gobo lights. Now you have these nice gobo lights I've got a Blender Market that I like to use. They do add so much more, but you can do it of course in Eevee. But we'll do it in Eevee and then we'll move over to Cycles in a second. So let's add a camera to our scene. So camera, we want to add camera. This in to place. What I like to do is have the camera look at something. So I'm going to add a mesh empty sphere. I'm going to place it here in the center. Now I can move this around. I want the camera to always follow this. Just makes life a lot easier. So I'm going to add a constraint and say track 2. And we want to choose the empty, which is it. So now wherever this camera is always going to face this empty, which makes my life a lot easier. So I'm going to split my window into 2. Right click, vertical split. So now if I hit 0 on my numpad, this is the camera view, hit home. What I'm going to do is turn off some of these sides. So these N will collapse this side menu here. I'm going to turn off some of these, you know, toggles, like the viewport gizmos and toggles and stuff, so it looks a bit nicer. If I click on the camera and I go to viewport options, I can even turn the passport out, so we can just now focus on this render window here, and here we can work still, you know, and we can still see what's going on. So you can move this camera around, you know, and you can get your composition right for what you want to do. But that does not look bad, and we haven't even really lit the model up, you know, or we haven't done anything. But it does, I mean, Eevee's getting pretty good. I'm sorry, I'm waffling on. Anyway, you can play around with the different lighting as well. Yeah, I'll use this one for now. And like I said, you don't need to follow this. You don't need to follow along. You can of course change the colors yourself. It can be whatever you want. It can be pink, blue, purple, red. Entirely up to you. You can light this up. I think the first example I showed you that I did, it was orange. So there's you're not tied into anything. As I said, from what I've created it a different way, completely different way from the previous one. Anyway, so now we can like rotate these so see them in different angle. Maybe this, and we can add a light to our objects. So I'm going to add an area light, move this up, if I scale this nice and big, and increase that wattage, I don't know, 1500, something nice and bright. Now you can see here, you can see the lights hitting it. So this light here is bouncing off. If maybe I want to put this light at the sphere as well. So I'm going to use a constraint, track 2, and say the empty. So this way, now the light, I know the light will always face the product, or those cards are model. Now, if you don't want that, you can of course do, something else. But I kind of like that. I kind of like that. It shows off the, that reflective surface there. Totally up to you. I'll do like this. Anyway, let's just keyframe these pieces to move. So at the start, I'm going to just do auto keys. Makes life a lot easier sometimes for something simple like this. So I'm just going to just move them once. So it just sets the keys. Of course, it's very messy that's setting all the keys, because if you don't need to change, you don't need to keyframe the scale and maybe just want the rotation location. Then you just manually do right click and choose what ones you want to keyframe. But I'm just doing the auto key. I'm just going to go to the end keyframe here. And what I want them to do is just slowly drift over time. So maybe like this. Maybe this one comes forward a tiny bit. Kind of like that. This one kind of twists. So this one I want to turn all the way. I want to reveal the back on this one. So, we can see the chip, but not too much, just a tiny bit. So now if we scroll our animation, you can see we have a nice little animation here without doing too much work. Now, turn off the auto key, this little button down here. Just in case, if you do move stuff around, you don't want it to add keys for that. Now, additionally, one more thing we can do is we can keyframe the camera as well. So you can select the camera if you want, and you can keyframe that. So if I wanted to, say, for example, move this in here and then have it drift out a tiny bit, or up, or in, it doesn't matter what you want to do. There we go, something like this, maybe a little bit out. There we go. You can have some camera drift while that's moving. Totally up to you. Maybe that's too far out. Maybe this starts down here. And we'll pull back a little bit. There we go. So there you go. You can animate this however you like. So this is Eevee. If you're happy with that, you can render this off, and it's not bad. I kind of like it. But what we can do next is let's go into Cycles. So if we go into Cycles now, Cycles is complete beast. Make sure you change GPU. I'll switch to GPU. It depends on whatever hardware you're using. I'm gonna say denoise this. We got a completely different look and feel because of the lights. and the environments that we're using. So I'm going to turn that scene world off. I'm going to delete this light. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I have, if I do a horizontal split in my asset browser, if I scroll across asset browser, in here I have Gobo lights from Blender Market. It's a plugin I bought. It's really good. If you haven't, you could use this, and or you could make your own. But yeah, they have cool textures. It just adds more, makes it more dramatic. So let's choose something I haven't used. Let's try this one, this abstract. I don't know what this is going to look like, to be honest. So I'll scale this and rotate this. As you can see, here's the light here, the spotlight. And I can move this in place. If I go to the light options, let's just increase that at 30 and increase that radius. So look at that. That looks pretty cool. It's added so much detail. It's like, what you want to do. But and then I'll increase that spotlight. There we go. Look at that. 2 seconds just to add in the texture. Texture with a spotlight with texture can add so much depth to it. Now we can add a second light just to highlight this more or light this up a little bit more. So I can go here. Let me collapse this. So if I want to join the areas, I want to join this, so we can collapse that in and say add a light, and maybe we'll add an area light just above. Let's scale this up. It's a big. There we go. Now if I increase this to like 1500 watts, it's going to overall make it brighter. I can bring this down a tiny bit. Scale it in. Have a play, see what works. Maybe it's too strong. Or maybe we just want it as a backlight. I don't know. What happens if we put it behind it slightly? I don't know. Let's see. Let's just try. I kind of like that. That's light in the back here. Maybe you could even give it a different color. That's not bad, but or you can set it off to the side. Now, the thing I like to do, I do like to use the track too. Just does make my life easier. Rotating the light around, so now I know it's always facing where I want it or where my subject is. It just makes it a lot easier to light. But yeah, you can have a secondary light over here. Maybe this is too warm. But yeah, it's up to you. You can play around with that. Maybe a little bit blue. Yeah, I kind of like that. Oh, I had the auto keyframe on, so I may have keyframed my light, but yeah, I like that. There you go. So play around with it. You can do all kinds of cool things. Hopefully that was useful. I've also learned a lot, and I do thank Zero Bio for this that tutorial. I kind of went a little bit different way from it. We all have different ways of doing stuff and building stuff, and we all learn differently. But yeah, hopefully that was useful, and you enjoy your day. And if you do want to find, let's go to Blender Market. Great website. But if you go look for what are we searching for? Gobo. There you go. I think it was. Oh, there's a few now. There's quite a lot. Which one I have? There now. Let me see. I'll log in and I'll tell you. Log in. Which ones are stairs? These are all stairs. Are these stairs? Verify. There we go. So let me go to orders. And let me see. So this is the one I've got. This is the one I use. Gobo Lights by B Productions. And you get really nice set of textures. you can get all kinds of cool looks and feels. Just add so much depth to it without doing much work. Saves you a lot of time. So it's cool. Some tools can save you work and time in your production. Just depends on what you want to do. You can even animate this if you want, to be honest. We have a keyframe here, so let's move this keyframe here. I'm just being extra, just adding more work. There we go. But you can have that slowly drift just a tiny bit. Maybe like that. I kind of like how that lights up. Let's see. Yeah, it's very subtle. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn that auto key off on, but I'm just going to move that down. Like that, there we go. There you go. It just adds so much more to it. There we go. I'll probably render this one off too. But yeah, enjoy your evening, morning, night or day, wherever you are. Thank you again. If you can hit that like and subscribe, I appreciate it. Enjoy your day, morning, night. Bye bye.